You're listening to Radio Kidnappers, the voice of Hawke's Bay. This is the program called Food for Life, and it's our pleasure, as always, to have in the studio Heather Barrow, the host of Food for Life. How you going, Heather?
I'm doing well, Ken. How are you?
All the better for seeing you.
Yeah, you too.
Now, you're all about food, keeping fit, what to eat, exercise, all that sort of stuff. If people want to contact you about changing our lifestyle, how do we do that?
Yeah, so lots of ways to contact me. You can stop in anytime. I love to see new people at G's Pharmacy in Taradale, where I'm located. You can visit my website at foodforlife.co.nz or give me a ring or a text at 027-812-5071.
And is it easy to change our lifestyle?
Not always, no. Sometimes people are forced into changing their lifestyle and, if they have health issues or whatnot, but I prefer it to be a choice. That
Yes,
way,
indeed.
people accept it more and are more willing to comply.
Okay, so what happens when we come to see you? We come in, you can almost tell by looking at someone that they need your help. But what sort of regime would you set up for them?
Oh, it really depends on what their issue is, if they even have an issue, because not everyone has an issue that comes in to see me. Sometimes they just want a health check. They just want to see what's going on, make sure everything, the body's working well, just like you tune up a car. It's like a tune-up for the body.
Sure.
So depending on what their condition is, if there might be a treatment plan that I put in place.
Now, Food for Life sounds like celery, lettuce, mung beans. Is that
well,
what it
those
is?
are all very life-giving foods, again. They're all very nutritious foods. But, I'm about food for life. I believe our bodies are meant to thrive. We're supposed to wake up every day, feeling good for the day, energetic, having slept well, not have headaches, not have energy slips, and not have pain, all that.
Sure.
So I believe that food is the answer to healing the body.
Indeed. Now, today we're going to talk all about Candida. What's Candida besides a good song by Dawn?
Yes. Yeah, I haven't heard that song. Candida albicans is probably the most common type of a yeast overgrowth or infection in the GI tract. It can be other places as well. Commonly, it can be in the mouth or other areas. But the gastrointestinal tract naturally has Candida albicans. We all actually have that, and we want that there because it's an important yeast to help with the absorption of nutrients from our food, helping defend against pathogens and different bugs and that sort of thing.
Why does it get out of control?
Yes, that's the problem.
Yeah, it gets out of control.
Yeah, Candida overgrowth.
Yeah.
So when you have Candida overgrowth, this is also a broad topic because it can be acute, very low, or it can be chronic. You've had it for a really long time and it's grown really, really bad. So we want to get the Candida at the early stages because the more growth, the harder it is to get rid of. And the thing with Candida is it's a tricky little yeast, and if it's there for a while and it keeps growing and growing, it can actually drill holes in your gut lining. So it actually creates these legs of sorts. I know, it's not very pleasant, but it can drill holes in your gut lining and create something called leaky gut. And what happens is the junctions in your gut, they should be really tight like a puzzle. And if you get leaky gut and Candida's overgrowing, they start to come apart, which allows all sorts of toxins and things, food particles that shouldn't be there, into the bloodstream. Then you've got another host of issues.
Yeah. How do you know you've got it?
How do you know you've got it? Well, that's a very good question. There are a number of symptoms of Candida. So, in fact, so much so, I'm just going to pull up my list. But I'd say a common theme can be a white coating on the tongue. It could just be right towards the back, or it could be all over the tongue. If it's all over the tongue really thick, you probably have Candida in the mouth growing. But here are just a few side effects of Candida. Chronic fatigue, so if you're really tired. The thing with Candida is it inhibits your ability to absorb nutrients from food. So if you've got this overgrowth, you're not absorbing the nutrients from your food in your gastrointestinal tract. Your cells aren't getting those nutrients. You're going to be tired.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason why we eat, to feed and nourish our cells.
Yeah.
They're not getting those nutrients. There's that barricade there. You're in trouble.
You are.
So you'll be tired. Your muscles might be, fatigued. Problems sleeping. You need nutrients, calcium, magnesium, serotonin. Manufactured in the gut, melatonin, all for sleep cycles. All of that will be disrupted. It can make you anxious.
Yeah.
Dizzy. Memory fog, big one. Yeah.
It's me.
Of course, the gut and the brain are hugely connected. ADD, ADHD, a lot of, even kids, I've seen Candida in as, young as 6-month-olds.
It's hard to believe.
It is, yeah. Headaches, another big one. Sore eyes, irritability. Another big one is craving for sweets and sugars because Candida feeds off of sugar. So it kind of tells the brain, it's speaking to the brain, because I said the gut and brain are connected, feed me sugar,
What brings it on? I mean, so those are some of the symptoms, but why do we get it in the first place?
I've not even done the symptoms yet, though.
Oh, haven't you? You've got loads of them.
No, there's more.
Wait, there's more.
Skin issues as well, because the body starts becoming toxic, and your skin is one of your largest organs, and so it can show in the way of acne, psoriasis, eczema. And then, of course, you've got your gastrointestinal issues. So most common, I believe, that I've seen are excess gas and bloating. So you just find that most of the time, your stomach just feels a bit distended. There's even more, but we'll just stop at that. I think that's enough if you're listening, and you can relate to a lot of those, especially, the white tongue, the memory fog, the poor energy, the bloating, the gas. You might want to come see me.
It's hard to believe that something that's meant to be there could be so, so virulent, working against you. So why does it flare up, and why do some people get it and some don't? I can't imagine that I've ever had it.
Yeah, well, sometimes you have it and you don't actually know that it's overgrown. It could just be a very low acute case. But there are a lot of reasons. I'd say the number one reason, this is just coming from me, from my experience, is stress. Stress causes an overgrowth of yeast in the gut. So if you've gone through a stressful time, moving across the country, family member sick, there's a good chance that you might start exhibiting some of those symptoms that I just talked about. Another one, the birth control pill, that can actually cause an imbalance of yeast. Too much alcohol, too much sugar, obviously a big one. So you're just having too many processed foods, high sugar intake. That's a big one. Too much dairy and gluten as well.
So just listening to you talking there would suggest that just about everyone's going to get it at some stage or another, because we all are guilty of it, and sometimes having all those things in excess.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of different ways to test Candida, but a common test that I do is I do a lot of hair testing. It's a method that's been around for a very long time. It's how they test soil quality, and I've had really amazing results through it. They now also test for Candida through these hair tests. So I do a lot of them, and I would say 7 out of 10 maybe, just kind of throwing that number out there, have some kind of Candida overgrowth. Could be maybe 6, but...
It's huge.
It's quite a lot. It really is. And I almost cringe when I open up the results. I'm like, please no Candida. Because then, we've got to get rid of this stuff.
How do you get it? How do you get rid of it? How do you get over it?
Well, Dr. Google will tell you many different ways. And I do have clients that go on Dr. Google and they say, but this site says this and this says that. And to be honest, those sites don't take into account if it's acute, if it's chronic, that the site doesn't know your symptoms, what you're going through.
Sure.
So I've put together my own sort of protocol to get rid of Candida. It's about a 5-week plan that I put people on. Depending on whether it's acute or chronic, I might change up some aspects of that plan, because sometimes you don't need such strong supplements to help treat it. So it does involve a specific diet where you're removing certain foods that feed the Candida. So that's the first thing that we have to do, is starve the Candida.
So how do we do that?
So I suggest that people have no gluten, no dairy, no yeast, no sugar,
oh my God,
no fun.
It's getting worse.
Right now. The thing is, the magic number is 5.
Yeah,
this
five
is the
weeks of misery.
5-week plan. And, half my clients say, oh, this is a piece of cake. No problem, I can do it. And other ones say, oh, but I'm going to really miss my fruit, or I'm really going to miss that glass of wine. How can I do this without 5 weeks?
Yeah,
In the scheme of things, if you think about your whole life, it's not really that long.
I wonder though, you say it's not long, 5-week plan, and we get rid of it, but then we say, okay, well, back to normal, going to start doing what I used to do. Some of those issues that you mentioned, like stress, and they might still be there. So if we then get back to our normal way of life, so is it a life-changing project we've got to be on? So rather than just 5 weeks, what you're really saying is...
That's right. I don't just treat you 5 weeks, you're out the door, done, it's gone. I like to pinpoint, what are the causes? What are the reasons why you got this in the first place? Yeah. And I like to go through what we just did, the common contributors. Okay, so if you were having a lot of alcohol, let's see, what can you reasonably be cut back to? What would be an acceptable amount? Okay, you've been going through a period of stress. What is the cause of your stress? Oh, it's work. Okay, what can you do about that? Is it time to consider another job? Mm-hmm. Can you cut back on your hours? Can you delegate? So I want to treat it, but I also want the person to move forward with the knowledge of what caused it so they don't get it back.
Yeah. Is stress the main cause, or is diet the main cause, or is it 50-50 or 60-40? Or
That's a really hard percentage to throw out there. I'm not, I think both really can contribute. I give people a stress test at the beginning of a nutrition consultation. I'd say half of the people I see, stress is impacting their body in some way, whether it's emotional or physical, environmental, chemical, all those things can stress the body. Diet, sure, that has a huge part to play. We're consuming so much sugar and we don't even know it.
I know.
Sugar tastes good. You add it to different foods, it's going to taste better. That barbecue sauce, let's just slather that on. And there's a lot of sugar in foods today.
Yeah. But if you balance that sugar out with, say, going for a run or a good walk, doesn't that sort of say, okay, well, I'm on the right road here, that I can have a little bit of this, but as long as I do that as well. Is that what happens or not?
No, I don't like to... that's the mentality, like, oh, I can eat this because I've just gone for a run.
Yeah.
But if you're eating, what's an example of something that you would have, like an ice cream?
Yeah, let's have an ice cream. Yeah, let's have a hokey pokey ice cream. Who wouldn't like that?
Yeah, nothing wrong with the treat. I'm all for having an ice cream now and again, but don't use exercise as an excuse to always say, I can have this every day. Because again, you're working out, your body needs those nutrients, so the ice cream's not going to provide you with too much.
No, it isn't. What about if it's a naturally occurring problem? Really, you always advocate good diet, good exercise, everything in moderation, and you should be right. But if you're prone to getting Candida, do you need to make a permanent lifestyle change?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea moving forward to be monitoring how much sugar you're having, watching out for your gluten and your dairy intake as well. Women that are on the birth control pill that have been on it for a really long time, it might be a good idea to just take stock and say, okay, maybe I don't need to be on this anymore. What was the reason why I was on it in the first place? Maybe, that's changed. So, yeah, I think there's definitely things to look at,
Who's more prone to get it? When you mentioned that we're going to talk about Candida, I immediately thought it was a woman's problem. But is it does it cross the barriers? Is it age, man, woman, kids?
Yeah, I think anyone really. If you're in a high position type job, I think you might be more prone to get it. If you stress easily, if that's your personality type, you're an anxious mind, always wandering, can't stop, can't sleep, have a lot of kids, trying to, care for them, keep the house running. Actually, I'm kind of describing working moms, aren't I?
Yes, you are indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. What about that? Now, if we come and see you, obviously you're going to set us on a 5-week plan, but most people, unless they're listening to this program, might not consider coming to see a specialist like yourself. We might go to the pharmacy or to the supermarket and try and get an over-the-counter fix for it. Is there such a thing?
There are supplements out there that can certainly help, and that's part of the plan as well. So I don't always just put people on a diet to starve out their Candida, but we also have to go in and kill the Candida. So you can do that through foods, which will help, such as garlic. It's a very good killer of yeast, antifungal. Coconut oil, is another really good one. Ginger, lemon, lime, cayenne pepper, really good. Olive leaf extract is another really good one.
What would a doctor suggest? I mean, if we went to the doctors, would he say, "Oh, here's some antibiotics"? I mean, not that I know, but what would Western medicine recommend for it? Do you know?
I believe, I'm not sure, but I don't think many doctors are so aware of Candida overgrowth. I don't know that they would know how to test for it. I'm sure there's many that do, but I've never had someone come and say, "Oh yeah, I saw my doctor last year and he treated me for Candida." Hopefully that will change, because I do think doctors need to become more aware of this sort of thing. But yeah, I'm not sure what a doctor would do in that situation. I as well like to give certain supplements. They're practitioner-only supplements that have different herbs to help kill off Candida.
Why do we need supplements to help? Why can't we just get what we need out of our diet?
You can try that, and that may work for acute cases, but I do not believe it will work for chronic, high chronic cases. And I've seen that. I've had people say, "Okay, not going to do the plan right now. I'm just going to go with diet." They go off. I give them that information, and they might come back to me. Usually they do, and just say, "I'm still having the same symptoms." And I've treated people as well. We've retested. The Candida's been gone. The test shows, the protocol worked. And then I might see them again a year later. That's happened, in multiple cases as well. I think it's back. Okay, well, let's find out. Sure is.
Is it common? I mean, do people come to see you for that, or when you meet somebody who says, "I've come for my health checkup, I want to go onto my new regime, I want to be a new man or woman," and you say, "Oh, by the way, do you know you've got Candida?" Is that how it works, or?
Yeah, people don't normally come to me and say, "I think I have Candida." I mean, it might happen once in a while, but normally, people have heard of it.
Yes.
Usually, but no, normally, I would say, "Okay, you're showing a lot of signs of this. I don't want to go ahead and treat you for this, because one, I don't know where you are. Is it acute? Is it chronic? Let's test, confirm that you have it. Just giving you a heads up. This is what I think. If it does come back with it, we're going to have to put you on this plan for 5 weeks. It's only 5 weeks of your life." I like to stress that a lot.
Yes. So that plan is like the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff. So what would be what are some hot tips that you could give someone to not get to the time that they've got Candida? What would you say?
Yeah, that's really tough. So I guess to say one supplement, if you can take a supplement if you're really stressed, is a probiotic. Put in those good guys. So the bad guys, not that Candida is a bad guy. It is if it overgrows. But if you start putting in the good guys, that will help that gut environment. Even if you're not really stressed, I think a probiotic, why not? Why not put in the good guys every day? Yeah. Yes, you can get it through food, through sauerkraut, kimchi, miso soup, probiotic yogurt, all that acidophilus yogurt out there. But just as a defender, because we all face stress every day, and to help boost immunity, why not take a probiotic? So that would be one of my hot tips. Secondly, watch your sugar intake. Maybe just even do an experiment, keep a food journal for a week, eat like you normally would, but start to look at labels, and see how much sugar you're actually having in a given day. So, men want to be around no more than 40 grams or 9 teaspoons. Women, 30.
A day, that is.
A day.
Yeah.
Yeah, 30, 35, maybe 6, 7 teaspoons.
Yeah.
And if you're going over that, maybe just make some adjustments and see, what other foods can I eat that are similar that might not have as much sugar. Thirdly, if you like to drink, watch that. Drink, especially beer. I mean, you've got gluten and yeast in that. And I think a lot of, guys can have a bit of a beer belly.
Yeah.
That could be a sign of some Candida as well.
Can you go overboard on the cure? I mean, like you mentioned probiotics. That's just wanted to take back to that. Can you actually reduce the amount of good Candida that you need by mistake, and then that then creates another problem, or is that not likely to happen?
No, I don't think so. You'd actually have to go in and and kill off the Candida. So like with the plan, it's a gut reset. We're resetting. So yes, this supplement is going to kill off the good and the bad, but then we're going to repopulate with the good guys. And oftentimes, I'll put people on probiotics as we do the plan.
Sure.
So we're really just trying to attack and change that gut bacteria.
Once I start your 5-week plan, how soon am I going to start feeling better? Going to start feeling better after week 1?
That's a really good question. I don't often talk to people that much as they're doing the plan. Sometimes they'll text in and say, feeling a bit constipated, which is a side effect. But it's usually at the follow-up when people say, I feel heaps better.
Mm-hmm.
And I ask them when they started feeling it. Sometimes they say like week 3 or 4. I think it's the hard part's more towards the beginning because there's Candida die-off.
Sure.
It dies off.
Yes.
And you don't feel that great. I tell people you have to feel worse sometimes before you feel better.
Yeah, indeed. All right, so we're just about out of time. So just remind our listeners, we want to come and see you for some health and well-being advice. So we want to change our lifestyle. How do we get hold of you again?
Yeah, so if you're listening and this sounds like you and you just want to, I just want to find out if I have Candida anyway, find out my food sensitivities, give me a call. We can easily just do the test. It takes 15 minutes. You're in my office, in and out. It's $160. You'll get the results in 2 weeks. So you can either call me on 027-812-5071, email me at heather@foodforlife.co.nz, or go on the website. You can book online as well. Quick and easy, 15 minutes. Just, find out where you are at foodforlife.co.nz.
Indeed. Heather, as always, our pleasure to talk with you. You look after yourself. We'll talk to you same time, same place next time.
Thank you, Ken.